knowing that divorce wasn't an option, it was very, very important to me, mostly because my parents got divorced when I was very young. And I know the emotional scars it left on me and psychological scars. And I said to myself, I will never want to impose that on anybody else, that kind of pain. Now, I worked through that, but when I would get married, it would be forever. There would be no doubt in my mind. And so when I stood at the altar and told Michelle that I would be her soulmate, her husband for life, I meant it with all my heart and with all my soul and with all my strength. Because we had been through a lot before we got married. And it was working through those challenges that I knew that nothing was gonna break us apart.
Divorce was always off the table. However, sometimes it tried to find its way back on the table, okay? You know, marriage can be very challenging. It has its ups and downs, it has its good days and its bad days. And the thought, like so many other kinds of thoughts, can enter your mind. But as soon as you reflect back and know that that's just isn't going to happen, it causes you to start finding solutions.
When you first get married, you're so in love, and it doesn't really enter your mind necessarily forever or divorce or anything like that. I think it's as we've learned more about our faith and that you've become Catholic, and that when things are harder as you go along, when you have children and dealing with all different sorts of things, that, you know, it's not like when you first get married and you're just so in love and everything's great, you know. That's when I think you realize marriage is forever, that it is reassuring and helpful. And when you both are on the same page and know that marriage is forever, then you can almost relax in a sense, because you know that you both know that and understand that. And that's where I feel that it is reassuring. You
know, I like to use this analogy about permanency in marriage. We live in a high rise. So every night we have to go up this elevator to the 35th floor. If I knew for a second that the building was only temporary, I could not sleep very well at night. Okay, knowing that, will I be there or won't it be there in the morning? And I like to use that analogy with marriage also. It's very different going to bed at night knowing, okay, that your spouse will be next to you in the morning, and it's something that you won't have to deal with.
I think for us, the statement, two persons becoming one life, is that we do put each other first. Sure, sometimes the kids take our time and work and all the different duties that we have to going on, but when we make sure that our marriage is the most important thing in our life, that we are always working on it, and we are always becoming closer and closer, and so that he doesn't have his own life going one way and his own friends and everything. We have, mutual friends and mutual interests.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's also realizing that everything that we do, every decision we make, everything that we do affects our whole family as kind of as one unit. I mean, us as a couple, our children too. Things that affect each person affect the whole. So it really is kind of like one. It's like we're living one life, even though we're two different people, and then 9 different people with the children. So, but it's really one life of the family.
My understanding of marriage, of two people becoming one life, is, as Jean said before, the unitive aspect of marriage. And we like to use the example of every marriage beginning with 2 funerals. Each of us, before we enter the church, comes as an individual. And before entering the church and before saying our marriage vows, we need to leave ourselves behind, and we become one. The two of us become one at the altar when we say our vows. And we shall never think, I never should think as Joanne again and Gene as himself, but always every decision, every thought is with Gene in mind. How will he be, how will this affect him? How will this affect us?
I know that we are of one life because right now I couldn't imagine my life without Michelle. It's truly, she has become a part of who I am, a part of my identity, a part of my spirituality. So much that I couldn't even think of going anywhere or doing anything without her. It's through the preparations that we made for marriage and through our marriage ourselves, she's really become one with me.
In marriage, over time, you do become, the two of you do become one. It is a real thing. It isn't just this ethereal thing that happens, but you do become one because every decision, every thought that you have, it's no longer is it yourself making the decision, but your spouse is always in your mind, and always, okay, this decision. Well, what would Bill say about that, and what would he want to do? And then if I can't make the decision on my own, I will wait and ask him first before I make that decision. But I don't want there to be any conflict, because I want us both to agree on it and both to want to do whatever the decision is.
Well, when I think about two people forming one life, as a practical matter, I think about of getting beyond myself and not thinking just about what I need, but thinking about what Judy needs as well. And that usually means what's going to work for us together. So the simplest thing is you have to get outside of your natural selfishness, and that brings us together. Now it starts me focusing on not what's going to work for me, what Judy can do for me, or how she can make my life better, but how I can make her life better, and that moves us to our life.